we need to sort of retrain our brains the way we think about it, that post-secondary can be college, it can be an apprenticeship, it can be workforce training. So just because you're not on that traditional path doesn't mean you are not highly educated in what you choose to do.
By coming to the workshops and the camps, they get to see other women like myself in these careers, and they share their stories. And then they realize like, oh, it's going to be difficult, but it's okay.
Hello, and welcome to the show. I'm so glad you joined me. I'm Michaela Pereira. Doesn't it feel like everything these days is more expensive? Groceries, gas, just the necessities alone feel like they cost an arm and a leg. And for those of you trying to save for your kids' post-secondary education, or maybe you're a college graduate feeling weighed down by student loan debt, perhaps you're questioning if a 4-year college degree is worth the debt. Look, this is not a value judgment. Those are big decisions that are up to you and your family. But what I want to do is offer you options, because isn't that what we all need? Options? So today's episode is a 2-for-1 deal. It will feature conversations with two fabulous women. First up, I'm going to speak with Kate Cinnamo, Executive Director of Explore the Trades, to talk about the sometimes overlooked opportunities that exist in these trade industries. And then the second half of the show, I'm going to chat with Judaline Cassidy, a working plumber and the incredible founder of Tools Tiaras, an organization she formed to teach young girls that jobs don't have genders. So let me start with Kate Cinnamo and welcome her. Good to see you, Kate. You and I met a few years ago when we TV'd together. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I wanted to have this conversation about Explore the Trades. First, why don't you tell the people what the mission statement of Explore the Trades is? I sense it's in the name.
You got it. So the mission of Explore the Trades is to bridge the technical talent gap to the service trades of plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. That's what we get to do.
What was it born out of? I'm curious, because this just didn't appear out of nowhere.
Right. So the organization itself was founded back in 2005 by a number of industry representatives. So a number of service company owners in the residential service trade, because they could foresee what was happening with the skilled labor workforce. So in tandem with that, they also wanted to have an opportunity to give back to the industry that had made them so successful. You know, the trades are something that we don't think about as having a lot of opportunity, which I know that we'll talk about. But the people who were responsible for founding the organization were really focused on that.
Well, and I know one of the things that is really pivotal and important, one of the pillars of the work that you do at Explore the Trades, is confronting stigma. Talk about stigma. Why do these stigmas persist? You've probably been diving into this a whole lot.
Yeah, there's a number of pieces that fit into this puzzle, and I think that, you know, top of mind, I think we can all remember watching a movie, watching a TV show where the tradespeople who were in these episodes on these shows, you know, are sort of shown as sloppy and lazy, you know, not intelligent, right? So you have that stigma that's put out there by Hollywood. I think if you were to take a step back and look back in, you know, a couple generations, where in the 1970s, you have the trend of people going to college, and it's that start of that messaging, which I like to joke about is one of the greatest marketing campaigns ever put into motion. But it's the message that once you graduate from high school, you have to go to a 4-year college or university. That's the only way that you'll find success. And I think when you take that and you compound it with back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you had schools all over the country removing trades education from the schools. So therefore,
Right.
you're talking
Used
with
to have
someone.
shop class and mechanic class and
Yes.
those kind of classes in school, right?
Yes. Yeah. So you have schools removing that type of education from the school system. Therefore, you've left a generation of young people, of young adults who have never seen these careers or these skills in action. So therefore, you can't blame them for not knowing what they don't know. They just haven't been
Right.
exposed to it. So if we were to look at the trend now, you're starting to see the input trades education, of CTE, back into school. So I think because we've gotten ourselves so far to one end of the spectrum with these careers in the skilled workforce, now we're starting to bring it back.
And quickly, I want to address the fact that, we're going to get people that'll come for us and say, "Hey, come on,
Yeah,
we need an educated populace." Of course we do, but
right.
education can come in various forms, first of all, right, Kate?
Right. Right. And that's a good point, because what I always like to say is our organization is not against a traditional education path after high school. Absolutely not. And to your point, depending on what you'd like to pursue, you might need that. Absolutely.
Mhm.
But there's also, I should say, and there's also a
And I
number
like that. And
of
and
there's also a number of vocations where your post-secondary education comes in a different form. And I think that we need to sort of retrain our brains the way we think about it, that post-secondary can be college, it can be an apprenticeship, it
yeah.
can be workforce training. So just because you're not on that traditional path doesn't mean you are not highly educated in what you choose to do.
And it, I think the biggest thing for you guys is once you've identified that there are these stigmas and there are these barriers, is then how do you address them, right? How do you address those? Because I know part of this is, education. You want to help people understand that, there are these options available. There are these industries out there. There are these possibilities, paths to success. Success can look different for every person.
Right. Yeah, that's the Michaela, that's $1 million question. I think we have to figure out. I think one of the things that I like to talk about when I'm talking to contractors, when I'm talking to service business owners, or when I'm talking to educators, school counselors, those professionals in the school system, it's almost a reminder of the fact that the two of them can work together.
Mhm.
And because I think that from the education perspective, even though you may not have a tech ed class, you have those experts right down the street in your community. You
Yeah,
have a successful plumbing or HVAC or electrical company who would be more than happy to have their technicians have other people from the company come to the school and talk about what they do. Or
for
if
sure.
you or if you're a business owner and you're looking for talent to
Mhm.
build your company, what's preventing you from calling the high school down the road? And I know that there is some pushback to say, well, if we do that, for whatever reason, we can't hire a 17-year-old. No, that's true, you can't. But if you can play that long game with recruiting and sort
Yes,
of plant the
invest,
seeds
right?
early.
Invest in the future of
Yes.
that young
Yes.
person.
Yes. Because those kids are going to go home and they're going to tell mom and dad, they're going to tell their family and friends, you know what? We had someone come to school today and they talked about being a plumber. And you know what that
Right.
is? Or if you can have the students come to your shop and look around the warehouse and really get to see the
Yeah.
tools that are in place, every kid loves a field trip. So, and that's something that they'll stick with.
Oh my, and to see how things, we're infinitely curious beings, right? We like to see how things are made, how they come together, how people do them. And I suppose talk about this age is such an important time in their life that you should be exposing them to, broadening their horizons, opening them up to options. I want you to sort of sing the praises of what a career in these fields can offer. I mean, I assume, first of all, some autonomy. Not everybody is meant to be an employee. Maybe you need to be the captain of your own ship. You can do that if you have your own electrical company or your own HVAC company.
That's one of the things we talk about, is that if you would ever have the desire to own your own business, what a great place to start, to have that entrepreneurial spirit. I think that what people don't think about is that going into the trades, whatever trade that might be, is the opportunity for growth. So you, after your apprenticeship, you can get licensed and you can be a
And go
technician
anywhere.
in the field your entire career. And not only are you, yeah, you can go anywhere. The wages and the benefits are amazing. I mean, for that quality of life, and to go on vacation with your family, I think those are big milestones. I think there's you can go into the leadership role. So if you wanted to be the service manager, if you wanted to be the sales manager, there's all these different components that go into it that you can take that skill set and branch out whenever you're ready.
I really think that the idea of pursuing a path like this is something that you know, people don't consider when they think about this changing era that we're in now, right? We talk about AI, we talk about economic downturns, and I would imagine, you know, trades are sort of not susceptible to some of those things.
I don't want to mention it, but I think when we all went through COVID, I think that was a realization that hit home for a lot of people in that you're at home, your children are at home because of school. So now you are in your home all the time and you need professionals to come out to fix your plumbing, to fix your electrical, to fix your HVAC. And what's interesting to me is I hadn't really thought
Hmm.
about or heard the term
Mm,
indoor air
suddenly
quality
we all
for
cared
a couple
about it.
years until we hit COVID. And then you have all of these HVAC. Yes, all of those professionals are talking to you about your indoor air quality. So there's the technology that focuses around that. And with COVID, obviously we're all dealing with it at home, but think about all of the healthcare settings where
Mhm.
you needed HVAC and plumbing and electrical to keep hospitals and
Yeah.
clinics up and running. And, so the list goes on, but you realize all of the touch points that the trades have every day.
In a well-functioning society, we need all of these jobs. These are industries that are sort of the backbone of America, really, when you think about it. They're part of the infrastructure of the country.
Right. And it's interesting because we have the chance in our organization to talk with students and then talk with teachers, and it's interesting when you do look back in history that the saying is that the evolution of clean water has saved more lives than the medical field, right? So just understanding the chemistry and water and clean water in, dirty water out. I mean, those ideas have
Yeah,
really transformed how we get to live every day.
yeah, yeah. I know that partnerships are important for you. Obviously, you get out there into the schools, you do school visits, and so do some of your peers. Tell us about some of the things that you guys are actively involved in.
So I would say one of the most valuable things that the programs that we have at Explore the Trades, and because we're a nonprofit, we certainly seek financial support from donors so that we to make our line of work possible. And one of those initiatives that we have is a series of poster kits. So what we've done is we've taken information we have, we've made them into posters to talk about the different career paths that we have so that at a glance you would have a high school student look at that leadership
Mhm.
and growth trajectory with wages to see, oh yeah, I guess that is a possibility. And we've been able to send out over 3,000 of those kits to about 12% of school districts around the country. So that's anywhere from 1,300 to 1,400 school districts. So that's really exciting. So we're continuing on with that. And then I would say probably one of the most favorite programs that we have for myself is a partnership that we've had with Ferguson, which is a
Okay.
nationwide HVAC and plumbing distributor. And we've just finished our third year of the partnership, but we have partnered. Ferguson has invested in the opportunity for us to award equipment grants to schools around the country. So we've had 26 schools impacted by this program, which is over 2,000 students, and they have the opportunity to receive HVAC or plumbing equipment
Incredible.
to build out their trades education program at their schools. Oh, this is my favorite. This is the favorite my favorite part of the job for sure.
I love it, and I know that you can people can find more information on all that Explore the Trades does on your website, which is a resource as well for a family who maybe has a teen that is saying, "I know I want to do something, but I don't know if a 4-year college program is for me. I know I want to do something further." Is it a good place for them to start? Is at the website?
Yep, 100%. So our website is explorethetrades.org. So you'll find a lot of information there that you can take a look at. And then if you find us on social, our handle is Explore the Trades.
Kate Cinnamo, thank you so much. It's always a delight to catch up with you and talk to you. I appreciate you making time for me on the show today.
Thank you, Michaela.
Okay, let me introduce you now to someone who is on the front lines, if you will. My next guest is a tradeswoman. Oh, yes, she is a working plumber. In fact, it was kind of hard to pin her down because she's got a busy schedule. She is in demand with all of the work she does with her company and her advocacy. Judaline Cassidy is the founder of Tools and Tiaras, a nonprofit on a mission to show girls ages 6 to 14 that jobs don't have genders. Girl, it is so good to see you again.
Likewise, sister, it's so great to be back and to be able to have this opportunity to speak with you.
Now, you really just put in a full day's work, didn't you?
Yes, I did. I worked from 8 o'clock till 3:30, and so I can get home to be on the podcast. Also, I would still be at work.
To be on the show, which I appreciate. And it also is the reality of when you have your own business and your own nonprofit, you have to be all the things. You have to wear all of those hats, right?
Correct. Yes, definitely.
So, how did you become a plumber? Tell people the story of how that came to be.
So I grew up in the beautiful Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago, filled with calypso, rhythms of soca, and the trade winds. Beautiful island. And I wanted to be a lawyer growing up, and my great grandmother passed away, and I couldn't attend law school to be a lawyer. So the trades was the next best option. And to myself, I said, electrical, you get shock, plumbing, you get wet. And I chose plumbing that way and then fell
You
madly
didn't want to get
in
shocked.
love
You
with it.
figured you could dry off if you
No,
got wet.
no, exactly. That was my deduction of making it an easier choice of which one I should choose. And I've never looked back. I've done other things, but definitely plumbing has my heart, and it has my passion lies within plumbing. I really love it.
And it gives you autonomy. You're your own boss.
Yes. So currently I work for the state of New York
Hmm.
as a plumber for New York Housing Authority. So I have a boss, but at the same time, I still have the ability to improve people's lives through
Yeah.
plumbing.
Absolutely. And that's one of the messages that I think is often lost in these stories of people who go into the trades is that there's this stigma. We talked about it with Kate, and I can talk to you about it because you've dealt with it. Not only, I'm sure, did you have to confront the stigma of being a tradesperson, but then also you're having to deal with stereotypes, right? You're a Black woman who is a plumber. You probably are one of the few you knew.
Yes, I mean, you stated exactly, beautifully, exactly how it was, with except one immigrant woman. So
Add to it.
that added another level of complexity, and then my height. It did not.
Just a little bitty lady.
Yes, this little bit of person, she is trying to come in to our manly world and said she wants to be a plumber. But yeah, it was really difficult. But at the same time, I knew that the trades would be a game changer for myself, my family, my community, and the country that I live in. I knew it, that it would be a game changer in all of those aspects. And I wasn't going to step down.
And how did it change the game for you?
It changed again because I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, extremely poor. I didn't have a mom or dad. My great grandmother took care of me. So financially, it was not the best, but it was the best that she had. So being a plumber has impacted my life where I am able to have a house, have a nice car, um, go on vacations, have a 401k plan, have retirement. Like, and on top of that, if it wasn't for having the nonprofit, my job, I wouldn't have been able to initially start Tools and Tiaras at all because that the plumber's salary helped me do that, and it also helped me with meeting tradeswomen who also helped me. So it's changed a lot. And when you get into the trades, it doesn't only impact you, it impacts your community, it impacts the country, most of all, which a lot of people don't know. It really does. And now most people who in the trades or union members, they are really participant in the process of the country. Besides the work, they vote,
Absolutely.
they go out. No, they make their voices known. So it changes a lot.
So in 2017, I think I've got this right. You started Tools and Tiaras. I love, and we've talked about this before, jobs don't have genders. I could not love that more. Such an important title. What is it that you want these young girls to know and understand and learn?
What I want them to understand and learn is that I want them to try everything that's out there within the male dominated industry, whether it be a pilot, whether it be an astronaut, whether it be a plumber, sheet metal worker. I want them to try it and know that there's no limits on what they can do if
Yes.
they don't believe there's limits. And that's what that slogan is about. And I also say it for myself because even though I'm grown, we still have moments that we doubt ourselves, that what we can do.
Samantha
Yes,
shows.
we right, and that helps me when I hear them repeat it. It gives me the power to keep going forward and keep pushing the envelope to bring more women and girls into the trades because we've seen so many girls who've been at Tools and Tiaras fly and soar and excel in. Who's going to be an architect? Who's going to be an engineer? Who's going to be a pilot? Now these girls are growing up and they're making impacts in their communities, their schools. It's amazing.
And part of what you do is mentorship, right? Because the thing is you're creating what you didn't have, right? You needed someone to show you the way and to help you understand the processes and know about the possibilities and to believe in you. You're creating that very thing for these young girls.
Yeah, I believe with the girls and the tradeswomen that they meet, we get them used to the idea of being the one and only, and
Yeah.
it's okay. So by coming to the workshops and the camps, they get to see other women like myself in these careers and they share their stories. And then they realize like, oh, it's going to be difficult, but it's okay that I'm
It's
the one and
doable.
only. Yes, it's okay. And it's going to be difficult. We don't sugarcoat it that
Yeah.
it's easy, but you should see how they come back and tell the stories like Penelope. She came to a welding workshop. She was the first girl to join her school Minecraft, and then she became the pit boss of the kids doing that, and then she recruited 10 more girls.
So
So so that's what it is. That magic.
it pays its way forward, right?
Yes, definitely. So that's why we do what we do and really push that envelope of like always getting them to meet amazing women. If there's a woman there, DMing, reaching out in emails, anything it could do so they could speak to the girls.
So what does the program look like? You have camps. What other things do you have set up so that the girls can get the resources they need?
So we have monthly workshops. Most of the times we have a workshop almost every month, except coming in July and August. So at monthly workshops, they get to do welding, architecture, engineering, self-defense, all these finances. So they are all wrong warriors. That's the goal. And then in July and August, we have an all-girls summer camp. They come for a week, they learn all of these different skills that they can use and go home and like pretty much tell their parents, I can do this for a
Wow.
whole week. And it's only taught by tradeswomen within the discipline. So they get that hands on um, ability to learn plumbing, to learn electrical, with building things themselves, and also building teamwork because a lot of times girls, we've been taught to compete,
Yes.
men are taught to build together. So with the trades, that's the one thing I love. We learn how to work together as a team to accomplish these amazing buildings that everybody use. So that's what we teach them to do.
It's awesome. I just think it's incredible. And by the way, I think women are communal, right? We tend to be community builders. We are the ones that tend to create those connections. And I love that you're making that such an important pillar of what Tools and Tiaras gives to these gals. It's really interesting too when you think about all that we need to do in life now with the changing landscape, AI and technology and all of these things, this is really putting these young women at the forefront of a lot of those.
Definitely. AI is not going to take plumbing away from us. It's not. And if we don't get more girls, and I'm just going to say girls and kids, right? Excited about these amazing careers. You and I, we're going to, because I could only fix my own plumbing, right? I can't do my electrical. I can't do my tiles. So I will have to pay more money to get these things done and import that labor if we don't take care of our country and expose girls, kids to these amazing careers. We have to do it to keep us being number one. And if we don't, we're just gonna have to pay more. Sorry, I can't come today and fix your house. I can do your plumbing today, okay? Because I have four other people. No, that's how it's. Because a lot of the baby boomers are retiring, and who are going to do these jobs? AI cannot do it. It can assist us make our jobs better, but we definitely need more
The
people.
physical labor, we need the
Yes, to do
physical
it.
labor for sure. So your title now is Chief Visionary Officer. I love that. I couldn't love that title more. What is your vision for the future of Tools and Tiaras?
My vision for Tools and Tiaras in the future is to have chapters all over the country and all over the world, where girls can go and just be the superheroes that they believe that they are when they're little girls and never lose it. That's my wish, my future vision, and my ultimate uh, mission is world domination by ladies.
World domination, y'all. You
Yeah.
heard it. You heard it here. You know what she's after. We talk so much, and I think it is really important to talk about STEM and STEAM, science, technology, engineering, and math, etc. But we also have to talk about MITT, MITT. Talk about that: mechanical, industrial, technical, and trades.
Yeah, I just wanted to come up with my own
I love it. You can
my
come up
own
with your own
acronym
acronym.
like STEM because all of these trades they are besides just plumbing, there's work within within factories and stuff like that that are industrial that are really high paying high quality jobs that people don't know about, and bringing technology, we everything that we do, people tend to cut out construction as part of STEAM, as part of STEM. So
Mm.
sometimes I'm the type of person, if they cut you out, then just build your own table. So that's why I kind of like came up with that as a same as a rally call, because the
Mm.
trades are so, I'm telling you, like it's so important, and COVID showed us how important, because we were deemed essential workers, but then
Yes.
we have to treat the skilled trades as such, not just in words but in action.
For those that are listening, what is your message to people who are out there listening to this podcast, to this show, about not only your work and the trade industries, but the future and these young women?
I say our future is bright. I really do believe it's bright. I see the girls being more fearless, and than when I was that age. The things that they say and the things that they do, and I think the future together, if we embrace college and the trades and we make them equal playing field, and don't make our kids feel like if they went into trades they're not smart enough. I think we can be all that we can be and then some if we just stop doing that and make every job and show to our kids that every job has value.
Every job has value. Jobs don't have gender, y'all. And she said it best. Judaline Cassidy, I am so pleased to be able to catch up with you. We've TV'd before, and now we get to be on a show and a podcast together. Please tell people how they can find Tools and Tiaras, not only on the web, but also on social media.
So on social media, we are at Tools and Tiaras. On Instagram, we on it's not Twitter anymore, whatever it is. It's
Okay,
X, all right. We are on TikTok. We are on LinkedIn. I'm on all those platforms also. You can reach out if you're interested in the trades or wanting to know more about how you can get your daughter, your kids involved. Reach out. Any of those platforms, we are on there, and you can also see the girls actually doing those things. It's not just talk; it's for real. Go check out the pictures.
Look, I seek to elevate voices that are often overlooked, unheard, and to also elevate conversations about things that we need to take another look at. And I think this is what this episode really was about, was that I think there's been this stigma attached to trade careers for too long. And I think there's a lot of people that are missing out, and a lot of people could be giving themselves quite a life like you have. Look at what you've created for yourself. Really remarkable. It truly is. Julian Cassidy, thank you so much. Tools and Tiaras, keep on thriving. Kate Cinnamo, thank you so much for joining me from Explore the Trades. For all of you listening at home, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in and listening wherever you get your podcasts. And be sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.